We do not own the rights to anything or any music that's heard during the duration of this podcast. Also, a lot of these shows will have explicit content. So if you are not a fan of any cursing or profanity, you may want to walk away, but that does not mean that every show will consist of such.
I know y'all tired of it, but we got a new season of The Pass. Welcome to season 8, the Mamba Year. Podcast available on all platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all of your podcast platforms. Here you'll get a dose of content related to tech, the productivity world, and most importantly, how to be a better you. The theme for this year, personally, is receiving grace. And we definitely want to do better with receiving it and being open to being a better us from who we were a year ago. So this is season 8 of The Pass, and I hope you all enjoy.
Oh, our first official day and opportunity using a feature and or resource that I've been very reluctant and very delayed on using, but we are here. And that, my friends, is the infamous voice recording or ability to voice record. Now, I'm going to be real and upfront that, yes, before I go in depth with this feature has been in existence for quite some time. So I'm not using it as like a aha wow factor. I'm using it more as a literally it's about damn time factor. And I'm taking a little bit of a delay because I'm waiting for the app that I use to update based on my scheduling for today, and it doesn't seem like it wants to, which is always fun. Um, I don't know, man. This life is gonna do what life is gonna do, and I will leave you with that. There we go. Okay. All right. It's been a minute, man. The infamous gate opening and gate closing. I have celebrated a birthday. I have traveled. I have walked and slightly ran a 10K. I'm sorry, a 5K. My trainer brought up the idea of possibly doing another 5K. We will see. Um, Apple has done some updates that I'm pretty excited about. And to top it all off, I am probably very, in the nicest way possible, I'm very disconnected with what has been going on in the world due to the fact that the media grab has been politics, Diddy, and screen screen time. And I promise you, I'm not just throwing these things out there as buzzwords. I'm not pushing a narrative. I am trying my hardest to navigate through this thing called life like we all are. And I'm here to let you know it is not for the birds. I've needed, or I have been in need of rest, relaxation, and resets galore. My vehicle is wanting to do everything in his power to be in need of more maintenance that I cannot afford. My finances have been in a very rough space. I had a very large amount of, dare I say, epiphanies and reflections. But the one thing that has been clear, despite everything else, is one, God's been with me. And when I say God's been with me, I include my siblings, my nephews, my father, my friends who have been the day ones that I didn't realize were day ones. He's been there with those people right in my back pocket or right around the corner. And God has been with me, and I'm still here. I don't I don't turn things into anything outrageous because it's not necessary to, but there are times when you just are worn down. Um, it can be a lot without being a lot when you're finding yourself, dare I say, handling the weight, or even worse, handling the load of others. That ain't your, like, it ain't your plate or it ain't your jam. And I'm gonna be the first to tell anyone listening to this that, trust me, it ain't easy. Monday was my first day back in the gym in over close to 2 weeks, give or take. And the body, the body moved, the body made things happen. But it was a journey. Um, the workouts have been a huge toll. Even worse, I think more than anything else, it's been. I'll talk about this because it's. Y'all know we family. Y'all know I don't really do well with holding back on how I feel. But Tuesday and Wednesday were some emotional ass days, and they had a very large amount of emotion, not by choice, but more so by force. And I'm sharing that because I think back to what I've gone through, what I've experienced, how I've paced myself. Plain and simple, those 2 days, I did what I considered as bare minimum, and that was all I had. And I wanted to say that there was more that could be or had the potential of being accomplished. But at that particular time, in that particular instance, that was all I had. So Tuesday got up, gave consideration to doing a walk. Didn't really want to walk, didn't really want to walk and jog, did not do my daily, and got up like exhausted. Wednesday was literally a wash, rinse, and repeat. Share those layers or pieces of talking because it then brought about emotions, feelings, thoughts, and concerns. And I didn't know what was going on. I wasn't sure if it was my body, it was my mind, it was my heart, what it was. And then it dawned on me. There's a term that I heard of and I had known about for quite some time related to seasonal, um, basically going through sadness or emotions during season transition or seasonal transitions. The fact that it was Libra season was not like a, oh, it's Libra season, ooh, whatever. It was like, all right, I got a good amount of friends that are Libras, so that was not on my window, on my radar. What was on my radar was thinking about the fact that it's goodbye summer, hello fall. The fall or autumn was not in its best transition from my personal perspective this year, which it happened. But I think it hit or it resonates maybe this year because it's been close to 2 months. Still think about my dad. I've been thinking about my parents, predominantly, my mom, and trying to find that way to be involved and not burn out. And I'm getting into a better groove with that, thank goodness. But it's by far it's not easy. Um, it was it's little stuff that I'm having to learn and remind myself to be protective of my well-being that becomes an adjustment. Um, my journaling has gotten a little better. I mentioned it before or earlier in this recording. I found out about so I had seen and heard about the iOS 18 update and a lot of the features. Maybe I wasn't paying attention when they talked about the journal app, but they finally made the journal app where it's more useful or more usable. I think in 17, I could be wrong, but I only remember it as you could type or you could add a photo and kind of go from there. Now, if the recording feature was there and I didn't notice it, that's on me. But having the recording feature and implementing the notated part of it is a big difference. A few years back, friend of mine who her and I are really still close to this day. Um, she had talked to me about trying or using the voice recording feature for iPhone to that was her way of journaling. And anyone that knows me knows I'm not a person, I'm not the you got to do it this way type of guy. I am more of a find your way that works for you. And if it works for you, do it. So this topic has been rotating with me time and time again about should I write things down by pen and paper? Should I go digital? You don't have to do either one. You can, I mean, you don't have to 100% commit to one. You can do both. There are a lot of people I know who are not good with writing. What's funny, and I'm not even gonna say it's funny. What's interesting is I personally say or see it as by me being a natural writer, I just love pen and paper. Like I probably have more notebooks than I need to have. There was a point in time that I was really big on the thought process of the catch-all books as far as okay, having a notebook or having a place that if I can't get to any other book, I at least have this book readily available to write down stuff. And there are even pros and cons to that because sometimes everything when it comes to carrying those type of books, there's a key factor that no one really talks about, but I'm always considering, and that's portability. So one of my faves, I've had the bullet journal set. They had like a pocket bullet journal. I got that a few months back. And when I got it, I was like, okay, I can rock with this. I've I've had all three notebooks. I haven't put a single note in any of them. And I don't know if it's just me not wanting to mess up the the aura of the book, or if it's just me realizing and knowing too that I have other sources or other places that I can write. Um, I've shared this before. I think I did it as like a not necessarily an argument, but a good tech discussion of which option is better. The the line paper, graph paper, dotted paper, or just blank pages. And 10 out of 10, I think ever since 2020, because I had never heard of them or used them before then. But for 4 years, dotted grid. I love me a good dotted grid notebook. And I didn't realize I'm to a point where I mean, yeah, I have the Rocketbook, which is a larger size notebook that does it. But I will, if there was a notebook that was a regular size 8.5 by 11, that was a dotted grid, easily would have it with me. Um, Currently, my, I guess you can call it my brain dump book. I bought it over a year ago, and it's probably one like I confession time. I probably have, if I had to take a guess, the field notes. I have larger field notes. That field notes is full, so I don't use it. I have a small field notes, a Moleskin, which by the way, I think Moleskin like had a chokehold on me at one point. But now I'm like, I use Moleskin. I use Moleskin in moderation. Um, but field notes, Moleskin, the excess, I think that's the name of it, excess notebook. my bullet journal, my Moleskine journal that a friend of mine gifted me for Christmas a couple years back. So I'd say five. Well, no, and then the big boy, brained up notebook. So I got about six notebooks that I keep with me, and then I'm not even counting the Rocketbook that kind of I kind of let Rocketbook fall off to the wayside a little bit because as much as I like the Rocketbook features and the potential of using a Rocketbook, I don't unless I'm going to remember to go to where I save those notes. It's tough for me to because this and I don't even know how we got on this conversation, but here we are. Um, I'm still in a rough patch involving cataloging or I want to say Zettelkasten because I don't I'm probably using it wrong, but trying to find the ability or find a way of keeping all of my notes after they've been written, putting them somewhere. And that's probably the hardest thing for a lot of people because let's face it, and I think about this now a lot because in where my dad normally would sit or normally would be, there were a lot of little notes and ideas that he jotted down, but they're not as many. And why I say that is because he was not the best writer, and I'm not. Let me this this is not a jab or dig or anything of my father whatsoever. But my dad was able to write stuff down. He kept a fair share of notes and information as necessary, but he was not a writer. He would keep notes for his services he would attend. But that was kind of the most that he had going for that. Said it when I left home. I was like, it's probably going to be when I leave from doing this walk this morning. It's still gonna probably be dark outside because the season change and the potential daylight saving time coming up after the election. But I digress. But with him, I think found myself writing a lot and looking at thinking of things that he's like left behind, kind of his legacy, and me trying to continue the legacy because that's what this brought forth more than anything else. Um, One of my $1 million messages or $1 million thought pieces has been that you might not get it now, but you'll get it when you least expect it. And lately, I'm noticing that I get a lot of things now, and some of them have been popping up, and I'm like, oh my gosh. But yeah, with writing, I really don't see writing being taken out of my wheelhouse anytime soon. Going to the seasonal uh, depression state. And like I said, I'm not saying 100% that I have it or don't have it, but I can say like this year, like for most people, it hits for them late fall, early winter. Mine's hit late summer, early fall this year. And I was aware of it Wednesday or Tuesday going into Wednesday, but I didn't set things up to handle it. So this morning, and I kind of double layered a little bit because one that I bought, I have two happy lights. One happy light was gifted to me by my sis, which I forever appreciate that one. And the second one is I would say support a small business, but still buy where you're able to find the accessory. And hers was available uh on Amazon. I think I bought it like had to have been not long after I moved. And I used both of them very frequently. I ended up the second one, I ended up having it all along, but didn't really use it because it was like hidden somewhere. And then the first one that I mentioned, I was like, okay, I took it with me to New Orleans, and I definitely used it a few times, but I didn't use it. It was kind of weird, but I think I was also like naturally getting up early. So while I was in New Orleans, and I learned this about myself, as much as I like getting up at 5, I think my circadian rhythm, my body gets into a preparation of doing things by 6 because it was 5-ish central time, and I literally just woke up. I never set my alarm, mm, didn't see a need to, and I would just get up. And this is probably going to be one of the few. I mean, I think I leave messages with most of these walkcasts, but with this one, I'm definitely going to leave you a message. And the message I'm going to share is you need, even if you don't think you need it, sometimes you need a map or you need signs to lead you in the right direction. Why I say that is because there were instances that I woke up, started my day, went about my routine, did whatever, and didn't really had footing or I had planting to do stuff, but I didn't have a personal guidance on what or how I was going to do said stuff. And I know to some people that would be like, well, I mean, what does that entail or what does that look like? And the not having the not having guidance, not having a plan, not having any idea what was what, just had me kind of on autopilot going through the motions. Whereas when structure is implemented, when discipline is implemented, there are things that I know that I must do. So, like yesterday, last night, I usually know when I'm pretty much like tired or done for the day. When that point arrives, I usually like to sit down, get my bullet journal, even if I have not written down tasks for the day that I've done, like done my rapid log, I will still be sure to do my micro journal. And shout out to Anna and MJ. Um, I am going to buy their 2 hour session very soon because personally, between that and between what Mel Robbins has out there, I'm ready to just kickstart what I need to get going. And as nice as I don't, as nice as it's not gonna sound saying what I'm about to say, I just got to get back to what I know and what I'm accustomed to. And it's not me, oh, Brian ain't talking to nobody, he don't want to be bothered. It's not even that. It has more to do with I've literally found myself very worn down trying to do things that do excite me and bring me joy, but also has not been the most well expensed thing. We hear this age old phrase, we get 24 hours, and we all don't treat our 24 hours the same. I 100% agree. Some of us, shoot, I won't even do 24. I'll say 8. We get 8 hours for a job. And with said job, there are things that said employer is looking for individuals to do. It can be very rough when two people are in a position of utilizing their 8 hours, but the 8 hours doesn't show as being utilized in the same manner. Like my biggest thing has now become when I clock out, what am I doing after clocking out? And I got the message yesterday. I wrote it down on my dry erase board, wrote it in my planner, but I need to either make a wallpaper or make an image that mirrors the same message because we don't really understand how powerful the mind is because we are very aware of what gets planted or uprooted from our day to day. The human brain, give or take, and I'm not taking any credit for saying this message because others have said this message numerous times, but the brain has thousands, and I'm probably gonna say at least 20 or 30,000 thoughts per day. And I'm probably, like I said again, I might be freestyling that a little rough, but the mind has a tendency to have quite a fair share thoughts that are going. We're thinking about, should I text this person? This person just texted me. Should I text them back? Okay, I'm gonna text them back. What am I gonna say? Do I give them a long-winded response? Do I pick up my phone with a vengeance? Am I gonna adjust my keyboard? I'm gonna play music while I'm responding. What type of music am I gonna play? Like, it's the dumbest thing, but it's the most honest. And I ain't gonna say dumb, but it's a minimal thought, but it's still a thought. You're gonna play a certain playlist or a certain album. You're gonna play it straight through. They're gonna shuffle it. Like these are different thoughts that a person could have all within a matter of seconds. Never forget it because it was probably one of the most interesting individuals I worked with. But there was someone who I worked with when I was in service desk who was very, very intelligent. Not gonna take his flowers from me on that part. He was very intelligent. Something I always emphasized, and I learned it with him, learned it as life taught it. With great power comes great responsibility. And he was very knowledgeable when it came to things that were not related to his job. When it came to his workflow, he did everything in his power to do everything but the thing. And remember literally having a conversation with him before our team like moved and telling him like, look, I ain't sitting here saying that you got to be 100% locked in on what you're doing, but you at least got to be interested in the priority or the matter at hand. And with time, he would understand it, but then eventually he would go right back to his old ways and his old habits. And his habit, believe it or not, dun, 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 was the phone. Could not live without being on his phone. He had to consistently check everything and anything under the sun. And what used to get me the most was he made a statement one time, and at the time I didn't make much push on it. But now looking back on it, I was like, it's kind of odd, but hey, to each his own. But he was very clear and letting you know, like, yeah, I have social media, but I don't use social media. And that's cool. You know, if you don't use it, you don't use it. That's personal choice, personal preference. However, anything that was sent to him, like, it's so funny. Like, it's interesting, but it's also honest. I have folks who I personally know who don't have social media profiles for different apps, but let you send a link to access one of those apps that they don't have a profile on and they can't get to it. Oh, it's third world problem. I like, yeah, they telling me that I gotta make an account. Okay, you make an account. I don't want to do that 'cause I ain't trying to do. Then you can't see whatever was sent to you. Not like this is not like a complex process, you know. I've watched in real time things be made way more complicated or way more complex than they need to be. And I personally don't um I don't knock those who operate that way. If that's your playbook, that's your playbook. But don't make something more than what it has to be, man. Like it is such a like the process is still the process, no matter how you process it. um, but yeah, my guy who was shoot, I think the part that got me was on a call, trying to troubleshoot an issue. Call taking a lot longer than it's supposed to. And literally, they're watching the soccer game. And I'm like, man, sure, if you want to do that, that's fine, but do the task first. Like, get the person issue fixed and send them on their way. Then do your leisure. Um, and it's tough because, and I swear, I swear, I've heard this, but experiencing it is totally different. You will get messages sent to you, or you will get, or something is done, brought to your attention multiple times. And you don't understand why it's being brought back around until you really look at why it's being brought around. Because I have someone I know now who the exact same way, different department, totally different individual, same type of process where phone is love, phone is life. And there's nothing, again, wholehearted truth, nothing wrong with that. Have no type of a qualm in the world about a person being actively, as I like to call it, actively tethered to their phone. But if you're actively tethered to the phone, that means that you've done what you needed to get done and took care of business. It's odd for me to say now, and it's tough for me to really call out. But I need to remember to write this down for the year in review. But I notice a very different Brian in phone accessible to everything, Brian, versus phone being bricked and I'm limiting what apps I can access, Brian. Those are two different Brians that to the naked eye, it's like, well, I mean, it's not really a big deal. You just it's your phone. Shouldn't be that much of a not addiction, but it shouldn't be that much of an overusage. And I'm like, nah, bro, you don't understand. It's it's such a immense usage that sometimes I forget how engulfed I am by what I'm doing while on my phone because I'm already very attached with tech to begin with, but this makes it more clear like, bro, you really gotta you gotta lay off the tech flow or the tech bombardment. And believe me, when I say this message, and it's gonna resonate when I say this, it really is easier said than done. Um, for a lot of people, and like I think so Tuesday while I was at work, I can recall being in my desk, having my phone bricked for like, you know, a good amount of hours, um, putting the phone, putting the fubbing band on the phone, putting the phone in the baggy bag to make sure I'm not using the phone. Only extreme I didn't go to was putting my phone away. And a lot of times it's so hard. I'm not gonna say it's so hard. It's such an eye-opening thing because you begin to notice when you remove, ooh, this a message. When you remove things from your life, things change. When you remove people from your life, things change. When people are removed from your life, things change. When things are removed from your life, things change. And when I say that, I mean it as when people are removed, there are some people who you're not going to get rid of. Life is going to put them in a position where they're not nearby. They're not in your immediate space. But you find that the things that you were doing when they were around versus the things you're doing when they weren't around are going to be polar opposites. When I'm in a position when my screen times are low versus my screen time being astronomically ridiculous, I'm very much more productive in those settings. Here's another tidbit, and this I'll share this with you all, and then I'm gonna wrap this walkcast up. But it's so I've had I want to say, dude, I think I've had that TV now at least 8 years, seven. I'll say 7 or 8 years, give or take. I bought a Samsung Smart TV when it was in its peak time. We'll just call it that. And the TV, this particular TV was it's a pretty big TV. And at the time when I got the TV, I didn't think much of it because I'm like, all right, it's a nice TV. I can, carry it around. I mean, not carry it around, but I can watch what I need to watch on it, call it a day. When I had to make the move and kind of set things back a little bit, I didn't want to watch the TV. I really was not as pressed to be in front of a TV like that. And so, like, even with my parents, they have smaller, decent sized TVs. I won't watch those TVs. But then I have a monitor that it's been a multi-purpose monitor for quite a while. A few months ago, I bought a HDMI splitter. Don't know why I didn't get one of these like sooner, but having it probably awakened the portal, if you will, because now it's like I will get, I'll sit in front of it if I'm at work, it's set to the work setting. If I'm if I'm like in my leisure time, if I want to watch my Chromecast, I switch it to the Chromecast. If I want to play the Switch, I switch it over to the Switch, no pun intended. If I want to use it with my laptop, hook it up to the laptop, it's an external, it's like a second monitor. It works where it needs to work, and it's been doing that, and I'm happy. I'm very pleased by far. But why I bring that up is because over time, the screens may have gotten smaller, but the content is still being pushed. The iPhone, and this is gonna sound like this is not a pushback or make or break whatever. It's just general conversation. The iPhone 16 Pro Max, I believe, has the largest display that we've seen for an iPhone. The bad part of it is even with having its max screen size, unless you're in a position of needing to, you're not going to utilize the full real estate of the screen. And to make matters worse, and to not cause any controversy, but also speak true, is so. I don't like having this tech conversation, but I'm gonna have this and then I'll close out. It's so eye-opening that our phones have primarily been intended to make calls, send text messages, and for the sake of, to be fair and balanced, send emails. All fine and dandy. All things that I have no problems or no issues with people doing with said device. However, the breakdown begins and ends there solely because of the fact that you you then will have these multiple apps pull at us. Apps pull at us to get our attention, to get our power. When we don't like, And I'm a test y'all out with this one. You try it on your own on your leisure time. Don't go on Amazon for a month. And when I say don't go on it, I mean don't go on the website, don't open the app, none of it. And just pay attention to how frequently they're going to push um push information to you via email if you're still subscribed to their email. Like it's a real slippery slope with them because I don't want to be subscribed to their email to get alerts about books or products, but then I need their email for when I have things shipped to me. But I technically don't need their email because if you're using the shop app or if you're using the Amazon app itself, you're gonna know when your product is being delivered. So, and what I mean by that is use the shop app. If your product is being sent through the post office, you're gonna get your updates as necessary. Uh, and with Amazon, if it's being delivered by Amazon itself, Amazon literally will tell you down to the date, like to the how many stops away they are, um, and why that's the way it is. So I've talked to you all for a good amount of time. I'm nearing almost an hour, and this was a good walk. It feels good to get back into this walk routine, and most importantly, get the walkcast back up and running. Appreciate you all. I wish you all well. Hope you all enjoy the remainder of the week. And a final message before I go. As much as we are counting down to the weekend, there's no need rushing to get to the weekend if you're still rushing to get to the weekend. And why I say that is because there's no benefit in being excited about reaching the weekend just to have to get back to Monday to go back through it all over again. So having those incentives and those things that can help you get your mind off of not being as pressured to hit the weekend button will make things all come together. Much love, much peace, much blessings, and I will catch you all next time.
Truly hope you all enjoyed the show. Definitely was a lot to unpack, but I know you'll walk away with something important. As I share at the end of each season, do find your way to get into podcasting if it's something you would like to do. My podcasts are currently recorded via Buzzsprout. Been very good to me. If you want to learn more about using them, definitely hit me up at thepastbtpod@gmail.com. And also the microphone that you're hearing me on is the Blue Yeti X. Have been rolling with it for over 3 years. We've been doing this ride for quite some time, so I hope someone could find this mic useful. Again, find those people who are good or helpful in what you're trying to do to be better today than you were yesterday. The primary goal is to be 1% better. Hope you all have an amazing day, and we'll be back again to do this next time.